The Power of Letting Go, a Stoic Guide to Inner Peace. Imagine carrying a backpack. At first, it feels light. Just one small stone inside, then another, and another. Years pass. You keep adding disappointments, broken relationships, old regrets, harsh words, unanswered questions. Eventually, the backpack becomes so heavy that you forget what it feels like to walk freely. Now here's the question: how much of what you're carrying do you actually need? The truth is, many people aren't exhausted because life is difficult. They're exhausted because they refuse to let go. Marcus Aurelius understood something extraordinary. Inner peace isn't found by gaining more. It's often found by releasing what no longer serves you. Today, you'll discover why letting go is one of the greatest forms of strength and how Stoicism can help you free yourself from emotional burdens you've carried for far too long. Stay until the end, because the final lesson may change the way you think about your past forever. Introduction. Every person carries invisible weight. Some carry guilt, some carry anger, others carry shame, regret, resentment, or the painful memory of someone who walked away. No one else can see these burdens, but they influence every decision, every relationship, every thought. The Stoics believe that suffering doesn't always come from what happened. It often comes from refusing to release what has already happened. Imagine trying to drive a car while constantly looking into the rearview mirror. How far would you get? Not very far. Yet millions of people live exactly like that. Their body moves forward, but their mind remains trapped in yesterday. Stoicism invites us to do something incredibly difficult. Not to forget the past, but to stop allowing it to control the future. And that begins with one simple decision: to let go. Part 1. You cannot hold on and move forward. Imagine climbing a mountain. Halfway up, you refuse to put down a heavy suitcase. Every step becomes harder. Your progress slows. Eventually, you begin believing the mountain is the problem. But it isn't. The real problem is what you're carrying. Life works the same way. Many people blame the future for feeling difficult, but they're still carrying pain from years ago. Old arguments, old failures, old betrayals. The Stoics asked an important question: is this burden helping you become the person you want to be? If the answer is no, why continue carrying it? Letting go doesn't erase the past. It simply removes its power over your present. And sometimes, that's the greatest freedom a person can experience. Part 2. Forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. When people hear the word forgiveness, they often imagine saying, "What you did was okay." But that's not forgiveness, and is certainly not what the Stoics taught. Imagine someone hands you a burning piece of coal. Instead of dropping it, you grip it tighter. Minutes pass, hours pass. Your hand burns. The other person has already walked away, but you're still in pain. Resentment works exactly like that. The person who hurt you may have moved on years ago. They may not even remember what happened, yet every time you replay the memory, you relive the pain again and again. Marcus Aurelius understood that hatred chains you to the very thing you're trying to escape. The more you hate, the more control the past has over your present. Forgiveness doesn't always restore a relationship. Sometimes it simply restores your peace. You can forgive someone and still choose not to trust them again. You can release anger without inviting harm back into your life. Those are two very different things. The Stoics believed wisdom includes compassion. But compassion should never require abandoning your boundaries. Sometimes letting go doesn't mean letting someone back in. It simply means refusing to let them keep living rent-free inside your mind. Part 3. You are not your past. Imagine reading the first chapter of a book and deciding you already know the ending. It wouldn't make sense. Yet many people do exactly that with their own lives. One mistake becomes, I'm a failure. One rejection becomes, nobody will ever love me. One bad decision becomes, this is who I am. The Stoics rejected this way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that every new morning offered another opportunity to live according to virtue, not according to yesterday. The past is a teacher, not a prison. It exists to offer wisdom, not lifelong punishment. Ask yourself honestly, how many times have you defined yourself by something that happened years ago? How many opportunities have you avoided because of one painful memory? Growth begins the moment you stop asking, who was I? And start asking, who do I choose to become today? Because your future is not written by your past. It's written by the choices you make from this moment forward. Every sunrise quietly offers the same invitation. Begin again. Not because yesterday didn't happen, but because yesterday no longer has the authority to decide who you become. Part 4. Let go of what you cannot control. Imagine trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Life often works the same way. The more desperately you try to control everything, the more frustrated you become. You try to control what people think about you. You try to control every outcome, every conversation, every relationship, every future possibility. But reality has its own plans, and when reality refuses to obey, many people suffer twice. First, because of the event itself. Then, because they refuse to accept it. This is one of the most powerful lessons in Stoicism. Not everything belongs to your control, and that's okay. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that peace begins the moment we stop demanding that life unfold exactly as we imagined. You cannot control whether someone appreciates your kindness. You cannot control whether people misunderstand your intentions. You cannot control whether life feels fair. But you can always control something far more valuable. Your response, your character, your integrity, your courage. The moment you stop wrestling with what was never yours to control, your mind becomes lighter. Not because life becomes easier, but because you're no longer carrying impossible expectations. Part 5. Every ending creates space for a new beginning. One of the hardest truths about life is this: everything changes. People change, relationships change, dreams change, even you will change. Many people spend years trying to hold on to a version of life that no longer exists. They revisit old memories, old conversations, old hopes, waiting for the past to return. But the Stoics understood that nature never moves backward. A tree doesn't cling to its old leaves. Every autumn, it lets them fall, not because the leaves had no value, but because making room for new growth requires letting go. Your life is no different. Sometimes the chapter ends, not because you failed, but because you've outgrown it. A friendship ends, a career changes, a door closes. At first, it feels like loss, but years later, you often realize it was also a beginning. The pain created space. The ending created wisdom. The goodbye created a new version of you. Trust that process. Not every ending is a punishment. Sometimes it's preparation. Conclusion. Letting go isn't forgetting. It isn't pretending the pain never happened. It isn't giving up. It's choosing freedom over attachment, peace over resentment, growth over regret. The Stoics knew that every moment spent clinging to the past is a moment stolen from the present. And the present is the only place where your life can actually change. Remember this: you cannot rewrite yesterday, but you can refuse to let yesterday rewrite you. Every burden you release makes room for something better. More peace, more clarity, more wisdom, more life. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is simply open your hand and let go. If you're ready to release the weight you've been carrying, leave one word in the comments: release. Let it remind you that your future deserves more space than your past. If this lesson spoke to you, subscribe to Stoic Mindset and continue this journey toward a calmer mind, stronger character, and lasting inner peace. Because the greatest freedom isn't found in controlling life. It's found in finally letting go of what no longer serves you.